This year I am doing something different with my knitting. Instead of letting my whips take over my entire project basket or my whole living room for that matter, I want to start 2026 with a plan that actually supports the handmade wardrobe that I want to wear. So the patterns I am eager to knit, the yarns I have been saving for that special project, the designers I want to try for the first time, the design ideas I have in my head, and the knitting techniques, the new techniques that I would like to learn. Plus, in January, I have also planned a full wardrobe reset where I'm going to go through everything in my wardrobe, every sweater, top, pair of pants, hat, shawls, you name it, and reassess if I wear it or not, if I could maybe reclaim the yarn, or if I maybe even will identify some gaps of projects that I can knit this year. So if you are looking for some knitting inspiration for your 2026 and are also interested in a slower, more intentional way of creating, grab a cup of tea or coffee, your knitting project, and let's get started. By the way, if we haven't met before, hi, my name is Annika and I'm coming to you from Germany. I am a natural yarn dyer as well as an avid knitter, and I help you create a handmade wardrobe that feels both intentional and beautiful. So before I show you the knitting patterns that I would like to make this year, I want to share my guiding idea for 2026, fewer projects and more intention. I've realized time and time again that I'm happiest when I have one main project on the needles and one smaller, more portable project that can also be a bit more of a mindless project to just have something to be able to pick up and knit whenever I feel like I need some relaxing knitting time. I also want to create even more alignment between what I make and what I actually wear so that I can take more steps into the direction of truly building my dream wardrobe. So that's why I also think the January reset is going to be so helpful, because it will help me identify what I reach for on a regular basis and what types of patterns maybe are intriguing to me and I enjoy knitting them, but in the end I don't end up wearing them. So I do really want to avoid that in the future and move more and more towards creating pieces that I actually love to both make and wear later on. I think the beginning of a new year is always a great point to think about what new skills you want to learn, because I think learning something new is such a fulfilling thing and also so important for everyone, not only when it comes to knitting, but for life in general. And 2025 has been a year of huge growth for me in both my professional and personal life, and I think it's so important to step out of your comfort zone on a regular basis and challenge yourself to learn new things, because that is truly what creates the growth. So there are several knitting techniques that I have never done before that I would really love to give a try. And the first one is double knitting. Double knitting basically means that you create a double layered fabric while you are knitting. So you are knitting two sides of the fabric at a time. And if you are knitting with more than one color, you are creating mirrored images of the pattern on both sides. I think this looks very intriguing, and I bet it's not that difficult, but I have never done it before, so this is something I would like to try. And I have already picked out the pattern that I would like to use, and it's called the Double Knit Scarf by Hello Hygge Live. I'm going to talk more about this pattern in the pattern section of the video, but yeah, this is for sure something I would love to tackle very soon actually. The next technique I would like to learn is sticking. Now, sticking terrifies and fascinates me at the same time, and I think many of you feel the same. Sticking basically means that you cut into your knitting to create an opening. It is most commonly done when you want to knit a colorwork cardigan, but you don't want to knit the colorwork back and forth, which you are required to do if you are knitting an open front piece like a cardigan. So what you can do then is knit in the round, almost as if you were to knit a sweater, but you establish a steek, so a number of stitches that you are then later on going to cut into to create the opening. It sounds very terrifying, but I am sure it is not if you know what you are doing. And I don't think I am courageous enough to have my first steeking project be something quite as big as a garment, but I have found a very cute pattern that I would love to knit and then steek, and this is the Barbel Mug Cozy by Donna Smith. Now the steek that is done in this project is done to create the opening for the mug handle, and I think this is such a cute colorwork pattern and something I would love to make and try steeking for the first time this year. And the third technique that I would really like to give a try is to actually crochet a sweater. Now I know how to crochet and I have done some basic crochet projects in the past, but I have never done any type of garment. And after I came across Linda Scuya, who is a prolific crochet designer, she has some stunning crochet sweaters in her portfolio. You should definitely check her out if you have not seen her designs already. I knew that I wanted to give crocheting a sweater a try, just to see how it compares, to knitting and how it fits and how it can be done. I mean, even to shape something like a garment. Anyway, I'm quite sure that I'm just not there yet with my crochet skills to crochet such an intricate piece like the designs that Linda Scuya does. But I also came across a designer that has some simpler crochet sweater patterns, and I think this would be a great starting point for me. And her name is Charity Limbitho, and she has several classes on Skillshare teaching you how to crochet your very first sweater. Skillshare is very kindly sponsoring today's video, and on Skillshare I found this class by Charity Limbitho called Beginner Guide to Crocheting Your First Sweater, Easy Step-by-Step class, which I think would be perfect for me. In the description of the class, Charity says, whether you're picking up a crochet hook for the first time or looking to expand your skills, this class will guide you through every step of creating a beautiful and cozy sweater. We'll cover all the basics from choosing the right yarn and hooks to mastering simple stitches that form the foundation of your garment. By the end of this class, you'll have a comfortable sweater ready for any chilly day and a new skill that opens up endless creative possibilities. Skillshare has a large number of different creative classes taught by amazing teachers. There are classes about topics like art and illustration, different crafts and DIY, photography, writing, productivity, and much more. The platform is designed to help you build creativity into your life by learning directly from those successful creatives. The first 500 people to use my link in the description or scan the QR code will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Plus, you can also gift Skillshare memberships to your friends and family. Get started today, and thank you so much Skillshare for sponsoring this video. So like I already mentioned, I am doing a January wardrobe reset this month, and this basically means I am going to take out every piece in my wardrobe and have a close look at each piece, thinking, what colors do I prefer? Do I wear this? If not, why not? And could I maybe alter it in a way that it would make it more appealing to me? And if something is at a point where I know I'm not going to wear it moving on, I would like to either gift it to someone else who is going to enjoy wearing it or reclaim the yarn. I think this is such an important exercise to do very regularly actually, and no matter if your wardrobe is handmade or store-bought, I think this is always so useful, because what I want to avoid at all costs is standing in front of a wardrobe and feel like I have nothing to wear. I have been working on achieving this goal for years now, and I think I'm getting closer and closer with each month or year that passes, but there is still so much more to optimize, and I think it is just such a fun endeavor. I actually quite like doing it. I'm actually going to do the wardrobe reset together with my school community, which is called the Handmade Wardrobe Society. And we have the wardrobe reset as our monthly quest for January, which means we are going to share our thoughts, our progress, some encouragement, reflective prompts, and just going to everything as a community, which I think is so much fun and I'm very much looking forward to. So if this sounds like something that would be interesting to you as well, I'm going to put the link to the community in the description box. And one more tip I wanted to share with you when it comes to decluttering your wardrobe. I am a huge fan of the videos of the Minimal Mom when it comes to decluttering in general. And she has done a great video about specifically decluttering your wardrobe without overwhelm, so that you do not end up with a huge pile of clothes on your bed if you have taken everything out of your wardrobe and then just feel so overwhelmed that you don't know what to do with all of the things. She has a bit of a different method, which I personally quite like, and I'm going to link the video in the description box for you in case you're interested in it as well. Let's talk about the knitting patterns I would like to knit in 2026 now. And like I said, I hope to discover certain gaps in my wardrobe after the reset and then being able to fill those gaps with the knitting patterns that I choose along the way. But I already have a couple of patterns in mind that I for sure would like to knit, especially since I already have the yarn for those. And the first one is the Rib Wave by Joanna Eng, which is an absolutely beautiful sweater knitting pattern. It is very elegant and classic looking. It has this beautiful panel in the middle, and I think it looks like an absolute dream to knit. The yarn that I would like to use is unspun yarn. I always talk about this yarn, I feel like, but it's just so special and beautiful. So this is Nutiden yarn from the Swedish yarn company Hönneröjer. And this is a colorway called Teppa, which I think means garden patch. And I was drawn to this colorway because it's so unusual. Let me show it to you again. It looks very neutral, but it has some beautiful flecks of light pink and light green. And I am planning to hold it together with a strand of a silk mohair. And I have this colorway here. This is Ballerina from Knitting for Olive. This is their soft silk mohair base. And I think this is going to make such a beautiful rib wave pullover once I finally get to cast this one on. By the way, if you have not seen Joanna Eng designs yet, I highly encourage you to check out her portfolio. She is an amazing designer. She has some very elegant and classic designs, and I absolutely love her aesthetic. I would also really like to knit a twin set for me. Now, before you think a twin set, that might be a bit too classical or maybe old-fashioned, please hear me out. I personally really like the look of twin sets. I think they are very versatile, and I think they are so classic that they never go out of style. Plus, I love the fact, like I said, that they are so versatile that you can either wear them together or each piece separately. What I would really like to use as for the top pattern is the Fabienti by Lene Holme Samsø. I think this is such a beautiful design. It's simple, but yeah, just very interesting looking at the same time. I would really like to use this one. And for the cardigan pattern, I am not completely sure, but I would really like to knit a design from Tricot Design MCL, who is Marie-Christine. She also has a very beautiful design aesthetic. She designs very feminine and elegant pieces. And one of her cardigans in particular that I think would be great for a twin set because it's so simple and classic is the Oxford cardigan. I think this would be a perfect addition to the Fabienti, but there are other cardigan patterns of her that I am also very drawn to. There is one called Romance or maybe Romance. I'm not sure, depending on if you pronounce it in an English or a French way. She also has one called Farandole and Claudine. That's also very cute. So I'm not completely decided which cardigan to knit yet, but I think a twin set would be a great addition to my handmade wardrobe. I think another type of garment that my handmade wardrobe would really benefit from is a vest or a slipover. And I've had my eyes on the Friday slipover by Petite Knit for quite some time. I think it is so classic and simple looking, but also so versatile that I think it would look great in many different outfit combinations. Another beautiful option is the Jacaranda slipover by Tatiana Ulucevic. I hope that's right. That's also a very beautiful option. And the Stefan by Rebecca Clow is also a pattern that I am very drawn to, especially since the pattern not only comes with the vest pattern, but also with both the cardigan and the sweater, which I think is just so generous of her. This looks a bit more like those Guernsey type style sweaters that fishermen used to wear, so also very classic, but yeah, I think it would look great in my handmade wardrobe as well. Something that's also been on my to knit wish list for the longest time are fingerless mitts. My hands get cold all the time, even around the house, and I think I would greatly benefit from a pair of fingerless mitts. I have just not taken the time to knit a pair quite yet, but there are several options that I am considering, and all of them are available for free, which I think is just great. So we have the Grit fingerless mittens by Agnes Brandels. I think those are so cute with this colorwork design. I would love to make those. But the Susie Rogers reading mitts by Susie Rogers are also a very beautiful pair, I think, with this picot edging. Or the Cloudburst by Arian Gray. That's the third option I'm considering. Also a very beautiful pair with this lace motif. Then I would also like to knit another summer top, because I feel like knitted summer tops are truly missing in my handmade wardrobe at the moment. There is one pattern that I absolutely adore, and this is the Yoni by Natasha Hornby from Moonstruck Knits. I actually casted this on in the summer of 2024, but my gauge was all off and it turned out way too large, and then I frogged the whole thing and I haven't reknitted it ever since, or cast it on again ever since. So this would be something I would love to do. I also really like the short tee by Anne Wenzel. It's very classic with those eyelet panels, and I would love to have this one in my handmade wardrobe. I even already have the yarn for it. I'm just not sure which colorway to use yet. I have these beautiful skeins from Nak Yang Yarn, which were very kindly gifted to me by the company. So I have this off-white, which is the 575, and this mid-tone blue, which is the 565. That's a blend of cotton and linen. The blend is called, or the base is called A Linen, and I think this would make for a beautiful short tee. Not sure which colorway I would be using, but I think both would look very beautiful. The Rococo Raglan Tee by Sari Nordlund is another great option. I think it is a very simple raglan tee with this all over stockinette body, but it has this beautiful lace on the sleeves. And another one is the Peony Tee by Claire Borchard, also very simple, but with this special lace on the yoke that just makes for that additional special detail, which makes it very elegant looking, I think. And the last one is the Red Currant by Scandier Knits. It has been on my to knit list for the longest time. I love the bit vintage look with the puffy sleeves, and yeah, I would really like to make this one, maybe even in a red. 2026 is also the year where I want to intentionally use what I have. I don't have a massive stash by any means, but it has for sure been growing significantly since I started this YouTube channel early in 2024. So I really want to be mindful of what I have and prioritizing using these yarns first. And one sweater's quantity that I want to use for sure is this one here. This is some fiber that I spun myself. I am not completely done yet, but almost. So this is how it looks if freshly spun up. I have spun those up as singles. This is a beautiful blend of a merino yarn together with 20% recycled fibers. So the colorful flecks are the recycled fibers, and the dyer's name is Woolento. I'm going to link her in the description box. She does some amazing fibers. She has a great sense of color, and she also dyes yarn, so she's really fantastic. So I would, since I spun those as singles, I have 400 grams in total, I would like to hold it together with a strand of a silk mohair. I am not yet sure what kind or what colorway of a silk mohair, if I should go with something like this soft pink or maybe something a bit more neutral beige, I'm not sure. And for the pattern, I'm also not decided yet, but I have something very cozy, maybe slightly oversized, very comfortable in mind. Maybe just a very simple stockinette sweater, we'll see. I also have 5 skeins of this beautiful yarn. This is Roma from the German brand La Mana. And this was very kindly gifted to me by the company. It's a blend of 80% cashmere and 20% linen, and not linen, silk. And it honestly truly feels like a cloud. I'm not sure if you'll be able to tell, but it's so soft and squishy. I have the colorway 00 Natur here, and it's this off-white color, and I would really like to make a matching set of a neck accessory together with a hat for myself. For the neck accessory, I would really like to make the double knit scarf from Hello Hygge Life, the one that I mentioned earlier in the video, which is done by double knitting. So I think this would be perfect for this beautiful yarn, and I would like to pair it with a very simple classic hat, maybe the classic ribbed hat by Pearl Soho, which is a very easy and free pattern, or something along those lines. I cannot wait to create these 2 pieces for myself. I think they're going to make a great addition to my handmade wardrobe. From my stash, I also picked these 2 skeins or balls, cakes, whatever. So this is from Sonder Janko. This is the Sunday Morning Luxe Sport, which has a bit of cashmere in it, and it feels beautifully soft. And I also really love those 2 colorways. The navy one is cover to cover and stormy weather. I initially bought those skeins to make the Ixchel by Catherine Clark, which is this stunning all over colorwork masterpiece. And I even casted it on. It was my New Year's cast on for 2025. That's why those are already have been slightly knitted on earlier this year or earlier last year. But I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. My head wasn't there. I think this is a project where you really have to be in the right mood to read the color work charts. It's a very involved, I don't know. I just didn't gravitate towards picking it up, and then it was a lingering whip, and I decided to frog it. I had only done a very small portion of the ribbing for the neck and a couple of rounds. And yeah, I am not decided. I would love to have the Ixchel in my wardrobe. I think it's just beautiful. But I'm not sure if I can really push through such an intricate piece, or if I should use this beautiful yarn to cast on a simpler sweater. I'm really not sure, but I would for sure love to use this yarn this year, because it's way too precious to just be laying around in my stash, I think. All throughout 2026, I also want to continue to spin and also naturally dye my own yarn for the projects that I want to knit, because I can't really explain it, but it feels that extra special to be able to knit with yarn that you either spun yourself or dyed yourself. It's just such a wonderful way to create garments and knitted pieces in general for yourself and your wardrobe. So those are my plans for 2026, at least for now. Things always change throughout the course of a whole year, and I think this is completely fine. It's to be expected, and yeah, I'm completely okay with it. So to sum it up, I really hope that 2026 is going to be a year of intention for me, a year of using what I have and creating a wardrobe that feels truly me. And if you would like to do something similar, and if you are looking for a community to share thoughts and give encouragement and receive encouragement, and maybe even ask questions if something is not going as expected. I can only highly recommend the Handmade Wardrobe Circle and that you join us over there. And I would love to hear in the comments what your knitting plans for 2026 are and how you are going to approach this new year with all of its possibilities when it comes to knitting and your creative journey. See you next time. Happy making. Bye.